Welcome back to my channel. I am your favorite mother of three, Bougie Vintage, and today's video is a little chit chat minus the get ready with me. I'm gonna try to keep this video as short as possible because I am under the weather and you can hear my voice right now. I'm congested and my throat does hurt, so I don't want to do a lot of talking, but you guys know I'm going to end up talking forever anyway. As you can see by the title, this is about the Megan Thee Stallion versus Tory Lanez fiasco. I have briefly shared on my channel before some of my thoughts about the case, but I haven't gone into full depth, and I also haven't really shared my full thoughts about it because I really don't want to say anything until the trial is over. As we know, this trial has been dragged out and I don't understand why it's taking so long for them to either convict him or not convict him. But all the pushbacks and the constant back and forth, the he said, she said, it's really tiring. Between this and the Chris Rock, Will Smith situation, we are tired. We, the delegation, would like to put an end to this. We need them to hurry up, fast track, do what they need to do, put people in jail or don't put people in jail. Whatever they're going to do, they need to hurry up and do it so we can move on from this entire situation. The reason that I actually am making a video about this situation today is because somebody in Megan's camp, somebody on her team, thought it would be wise to do a sit-down interview with Gayle King. And I'm kind of baffled at this. I really feel like they have failed her. Her PR team has failed her. Roc Nation is failing her by releasing this interview. From the very beginning, people have casted doubt on what has happened, whether they believe Megan or whether they believe Tory. Everybody as a whole has decided that there are pieces missing from this story. Some people want to argue that who cares? A black woman was harmed in the making of this drama, and that's all that matters, and believe black women and protect black women, and that should be it. However, the fact of the matter is that from the very beginning, the story was strange. And I think that's really why people have had a hard time trying to put it together, because there's been so much said, but it's like nothing has been said at all. I just wanted to point out that this is much like the Terrence J situation, where it was a mystery as to who crashed his car or who was in the car when it got crashed. And to this day, we still have no idea what happened to Terrence J's car. Initially, when this situation happened, it was reported that there was an incident with them, and that Megan was injured, but it was never said that she was shot or even shot at. It wasn't until maybe a day or so later that Megan Thee Stallion posted on her Instagram to clarify she was not cut by glass, but somebody tried to intentionally harm her. So now she's claiming assault. So at this point, everybody is looking like, what the hell? What happened? What actually happened? And so people from that point started trying to piece the situation together. But of course, we've all been unsuccessful in getting to the bottom of this, because there's his side, there's her side, there's Kelsey, who has not said anything really other than the song that she released. There's the driver that we has yet to hear from or even see on camera, or Tory's security guard, whatever you want to call him. And by the way, if he was there, I am so confused because if the security guard was present, Tory's security was present, why was he not securing? It was his job to secure. Why was he not securing? Anyway, there's a lot of theories and people comparing it to the Chris Brown Rihanna situation, because that was also a Roc Nation incident, or an incident where Roc Nation is directly involved, and Illuminati and all these things, which, I mean, if you're a conspiracy theorist, then you're a conspiracy theorist. Or if you feel like it's just a red flag, then it's a red flag. But the fact of the matter is, we do not have all the facts. Now, the reason I say that her team failed her is because, one, the trial is ongoing. The case is open. Yes, she is the victim in the situation, but because of all the drama surrounding this incident, and for the fact that everybody had already, not everybody, for the fact that a large amount of people had started calling her Megan the Smollett, as in Jussie Smollett, because of the hoax that he lied about. They're calling her a liar. They're saying they don't believe her. They're saying sympathy and payola, all these things. This interview was probably the worst decision they could have made for her as a team. And it's sketchy that they would even make her do an interview after 2 years. From the time that she started going on Instagram Live, you know, she should have never been on Instagram Live saying anything about anything. But from the time she started spilling a little bit of tea here and there, Megan talking has always been the reason that people are confused, or why people seem to not be able to verify or validify her story. And that's not fair, because at the end of the day, she was hurt in this situation. She clearly was injured, but there was so many things that happened after it was said that she was assaulted that, you know, didn't add up in the court of public opinion, which is really irrelevant, because the people cannot put Tory Lanez in jail. They can have their opinions all day long, but they can't do anything. This has to actually go to trial. Now, if I am going to do an exclusive and I want it to sway the public's opinion about what happened, number one, I'm not going to Gayle, okay? Look at the R. Kelly interview, like, it just became a meme. So Gayle was not the best choice for Megan. Her team failed her in that regard. That's number one. Number two, her team did not properly prepare her for the questions, because had they prepared her, when Gayle got to that one question in particular, which was, were you and Tory Lanez intimate? Megan's response to that question has further made people raise their eyebrows about, okay, what's really going on? You know, what's really going on? Because the way that she answered the question made it look as though she is lying. Because one, Tory has already stated that he was having relations with both. Whether that's true or not, we don't know at this point, but it did make sense. Because one of my thoughts about this whole thing was, if Tory is the one that shot Megan, why are her and Kelsey no longer friends? What happened that Daystar Peterson got in between two girls that have been best friends for however long? What happened in that situation? Yes, Megan felt like she was in danger that night, but if Tory shot Megan and Kelsey didn't shoot Megan, why is it that they fell out over the situation? That's one of the things that I never really understood. Why is Megan and Kelsey no longer friends after this incident happened? I understand cutting off Tory 100%, especially because she's alleging that he shot her. Cut him off. But I just don't understand where Megan and Kelsey went wrong. And until this really unfolds and we get to see the end of the trial, we're not going to know why they are no longer speaking, because neither one of them have said. That's one of the things I thought was strange. Now, if Megan did not want to answer the question about having an intimate relationship with him, then she should have said, you know what, Gayle? I don't think that that's relevant to what happened to me. If I was having sex with him, does that give him a pass or a right to shoot me in the foot? Like, that's how I would have answered that question. Or I would have said, next question. I would have literally just either said next question, or I'm not comfortable answering that question because I don't feel that it is relevant, and that's how I would answer it. But the way that Megan answered it, she pretended that she didn't understand the question, which was first red flag. The second red flag was she kind of like, Gayle asked, and then she kind of was like, Gayle, like, why are you asking me this right now? Like, she kind of had that kind of tone, and she didn't say anything, but she like mumbled something. And then Gayle turns around and gives her the Bill Clinton phrase, Megan, did you have a sexual relationship with Tory Lanez? And Megan again, didn't answer the question right away. Like, that's not a question you have to think about. If you know you never had sex with somebody, you say yes or no. You know, you say no, I didn't, no, never. He never had this box. Like, never. Like, that's what the answer should have been. But she had to sit and think about the answer. She said, which was red flag number 2. She's like, we did not have a sexual relationship. And she just looked like she was lying, child. It was like, okay, like, if you're gonna lie about that, just don't do the interview, because you know that question is going to be asked. And if she didn't know that that question was going to be asked, which she should, her team definitely failed her. And that's why I say that her team failed her, because they did not prepare her to answer that question. They should have already sat her down and said, listen, if Gayle says, or when Gayle says, did you have a sexual relationship with Tory Lanez? Say, I don't think that that's relevant. Let's move on to the next question. And if she presses, let's move on to the next question until she gets it and moves on to the next question, period. Like, Megan, if you need a PR person, I mean, first I'm telling Rihanna to hire me so that I can dress her. Now I'm telling Megan to hire me as her PR person, because your PR team is crap, okay? You should have never done that interview, because what people are going to say now is, if you will lie about that, you'll lie about anything. Isn't that the case? Like, for me, I don't believe that it's our business about any of the case. I don't believe that it's our business with about what happened in the car. I don't believe it's our business about if they was knocking boots or not, if he was having sex with Kelsey. I don't think any of the stuff that's going on in anybody's life except for my own is my business, you know? But because it is public and people are going to talk about it, and people like me get asked these kinds of questions, like, what do I think about the situation? We're going to discuss it. You know what I mean? Of course, we don't have to. We're not obligated to. But I'm going to give the people what they want, chat. Because the people have already casted doubt on this story from the very beginning. Her sitting, doing an interview, which is supposed to help her situation. Her doing the interview and not being forthcoming about that answer, or just shutting the question down, it makes her look bad. That's the first problem with the interview. The second problem with the interview is that people are watching this interview now and saying the little tear that couldn't, you know? They're saying that she was trying to force her tears. They said that when she was talking about her parents in the beginning of the interview, she was crying easily, like freely, the tears are flowing. But when she's talking about this situation that was extremely traumatic, she couldn't get a tear to come down her face. And that's the other part of this. And so since this has not gone to trial yet, and I don't know if they're still doing jury selection, or if jury selection happens closer to when the trial is going to be going on, this is giving the jurors an opportunity to either already pick that they're going to find Tory innocent, or that they're going to find him guilty. And I think that might be the motive behind Roc Nation allowing her to conduct this interview. But either way, this can go one of two ways. This can actually really hurt her case. And so my thought process too is, when it came to the question about if they've been intimate, if she is indeed lying about that, and they did have sex, and she does this interview and she says they didn't have sex, then when they put her on the stand, Tory's lawyers start cross-examining her and asking her about their relationship, and she says they had sex. If that answer switches, because they're going to bring up this interview, like, that interview is going to get used against her. They're going to chew her in court with this interview. Like, who is this lady's lawyer? They're going to chew her. Like, so if she has to switch that answer because she can't lie on the stand, or if she does switch the answer, and like, if there's like even like text messages before, like text messages between Tory and Megan before that even allude to the fact that they did have a sexual relationship, and she sat and denied it on national television, and then when they're in court, she lies again on the stand and perjures herself, it's going to be problematic. Or if she switches her answer and then admits to having sex, it's going to be problematic for her character. It's going to be problematic in court, but also people are already attacking this woman online every single day. They're attacking her, they're attacking Kelsey, they're attacking Tori, whatever. They're attacking everybody in the situation. I personally would like to hear from the security guard. I'm gonna need an exclusive interview, sir. I'm like, where are you? Who is he? He's a mystery man. We never see him on the footage. We never even find out his name. I think it's so odd that Megan's security has always been traveling with her, and this night in particular, they weren't with her. Like, this is a crazy situation. And I want to go back to like my initial thoughts when this first happened in 2020 and we saw the TMZ footage. So when this first happened and we saw on TMZ that there was helicopter footage, and we also had Megan's version of events from her Instagram, when we started to put two and two together, this is when people's eyebrows started to be raised. My questions were, it was alleged that Tori had shot Megan from the back seat of the vehicle, on, obviously, the passenger's side. Megan had stated that there was only 4 people in the car: his security, her, Kelsey, and Tory Lanez. She stated that Tori and Kelsey were in the back seat of the vehicle. This would mean that Tory Lanez's driver or security guard was operating the vehicle, and Megan Thee Stallion was in the front passenger seat. Megan had stated that she had gotten out of the vehicle and was shot while she was outside of the vehicle. So that part has not changed as far as I'm concerned. Initially, there was some blurred lines there where people weren't sure if she was shot in the car or outside of the car, but it turned that she was shot actually being outside of the car. Then she got back in the car after the person that just shot her. So this is also where people were like, if you were afraid for your life, if somebody just, I'm speaking from me personally, if somebody just shot at me, I'm never getting back in that vehicle. You're either gonna have to kill me or drive off without me. Leave me. Because I'm not getting back in the car after you just shot me. And I think that's probably 99% of people's thought process. Especially if you were out the window yelling, "Dance, bitch," while you're shooting me. Like, wait, when she said that in the interview, I'm like, this sounds like a Chappelle Show skit. Like, I couldn't even believe, like, why would he be yelling that out of the window? I don't understand what the hell was going on in that vehicle. Anyway, let me get back to my question. She alleged that she was shot from the back of the vehicle. So she gets back in the car. People are like, what the frig? That doesn't even make any sense, right? It just doesn't. But that's, for me, is not even like the part that really confused me. What confused me was the footage. So in the footage, we see the driver's door open and the back door closed. We see Tory Lanez lying face down on the ground with his arms spread. He's still in his swimming attire from Kylie's house. And Megan and Kelsey are both in their bathing suits as well. We never see the damn security. But the security was supposed to be the one that was driving the car. And this is why, for me, this is why I've always just wanted to watch this whole thing play out and see what happens, because there's not 2 men laying face down on the ground when the police arrive. There's only one, and it's Tori, and the driver's door is open. Then we see Kelsey exit the back of the vehicle where Megan is saying that she was shot from. And so because we never see the security, and because the driver's door is open and Tori's lying on the ground and there's not another man there, and Kelsey gets out the back, I'm confused. And that's not to say that Tori could not have climbed to the driver's seat, but where was the security? Why do we never see the security? We see Megan on the other side walking backwards with her foot leaking. We do see that. So we know that she was indeed sitting in the passenger seat. But if he is the one that shot her, I'm confused as to why Kelsey exited the vehicle on the side of the road and not the side of the sidewalk that Megan was already walking backwards like this. I don't understand how the situation in the car actually happened. And we will not understand it until the whole entire thing blows up in court. The other questions that I have now have to do directly with the interview. Because when Megan was telling Gayle King what happened, she initially stated, and these two sentences are like literally a minute apart. She initially stated that there was an argument happening in the car because Megan wanted to leave the party, or she said she had been there basically at Kylie's house all day. So Megan was stating that she wanted to leave and her friends did not want to leave. So Kelsey and Tori did not want to leave, and so there was an argument about that. But she said, but that's like normal stuff. Like, you want to go, your friends don't want to go, so you guys are like being combative. But then a minute later, she states that the initial argument had nothing to do with her. She said it was the two people in the back of the car that were arguing. And so at this point, I'm like, okay, well, I thought that they were arguing because I thought that the argument was because you wanted to leave and they didn't. But now you're saying that they were arguing about something. It wasn't anything to do with you. To the point where she exits the vehicle because she's annoyed with them. So again, I'm confused. I'm not taking away from Megan's experience. I'm not taking away from what happened to her. But what I initially thought was that Megan was unsure about who shot her. And that is why she's no longer friends with Kelsey, because I think that they were all really drunk and nobody really knows what happened that night. Obviously, you know if you shoot somebody. So somebody is lying in that car about what happened to Megan's feet, but it's really up for debate with if it was Kelsey that shot her or if it was Tori that shot her. Now, Megan is stating that it was Tori. She's stating that he said, "Dance, bitch," as he was shooting at her. But she also said in this interview that he was standing, leaning out of the back window of the vehicle with the gun. I know Tori is very short, but I myself drive a Durango. And I'm 5'2". I'm shorter than Tory Lanez. I'm 5'2". I drive a Durango, so it's a pretty big body vehicle. And I can't really stand in the back of the car. I don't know what kind of vehicle they were driving, but it was it was probably a Suburban. But I can't stand in the back of my vehicle and like not be like bending my neck or something like that. If I had the window down and I was leaning out of the window, I would have to be kneeling, not standing. I would have to be kneeling on the seat to be able to extend my body out the window and shoot. The other thing was, Megan is so tall. I'm confused as to why whoever was shooting at her was shooting at the ground. They were obviously trying to intimidate and scare her. Or I really don't understand what happened, because no bullets actually went into her feet. It was just fragments. So maybe ricocheting off of the ground and flying into her foot. And she said there's still fragments of bullets in her feet. Now, the other part of the interview that really got me was that Megan stated that the police were called because somebody heard gunshots. So somebody heard gunshots and decided to call the police. Y'all is in the damn suburbs shooting your gun. Like, what is happening here? You guys are in the suburbs. Obviously, the police are gonna be called, and they're showing up in 0.00005 seconds, period. The police were called because gunshots were heard. But then when they arrived to the scene, Megan tells them that she cut her foot on glass. But if they were called because gunshots were heard, I would not think that they would even believe that account, that she cut her foot on glass and, you know, they're hauling her off to the emergency room. Police are versed in what a bullet wound, what a bullet graze, you know, looks like. And also because they were called for gunshots and somebody is now there leaking blood, I'm not really sure how she was able to even say she cut her foot on glass. It didn't make sense to me that they were even going to go with that story. The other thing is, apparently at the last hearing, or maybe before the last hearing, there was an eyewitness that stated they saw the gun flash go off closer to Kelsey's body versus Tori's body. There also is all this talk about the gunpowder residue being on Kelsey and not on Tori, or not a significant enough amount. I don't freaking know. It's just too confusing. It's like, if there was, I'm like, shouldn't this have been an open and shut case? Like, why is it being dragged out this way? And why, after 2 years, is she doing an interview with Gayle freaking King? They should have sent her to Barbara Walters, child. I don't, or somebody, child. I don't even know who they should have sent to, but not Gayle King, because, no. I think it's very, very problematic that she did the interview, and I don't think that that's her fault, because what we know about the industry is that the artists, a lot of the time, they don't have much control over what's going on in their own lives. So she doesn't have her mom there. She doesn't have her dad there. She has Rock Nation, who is taking advantage of her, number one, because she's bringing in a cute coin. But I don't think they really care about Megan's well-being. I don't think that her team really cares about her. They want to ensure that she's able to bring money in, and that's their only goal. She's a money maker. She's a Grammy winner. Because if this case turns out like a lot of people are saying it's going to turn out, which is that she lied and that unsure about who shot her, but blamed it on Tori, so she just had to keep going with that because she didn't want to have to switch and say it was Kelsey that shot her, because then it just creates confusion. So if that is the case, which I am not in any way saying that that's what happened, I don't know what happened because I was not there, and I don't care. I really don't. I'm not gonna lie. Like, this ain't got nothing to do with me. Ain't got nothing to do with me. But I do think that she was damned if she did and damned if she didn't. So because she had opened her mouth and stated, "You shot me," she had to just keep going with that. Because if she recants that statement and says, "You know what, guys, I'm not sure if she shot me. I'm not sure if Tori shot me. I'm not sure if Kelsey shot me," she couldn't do that. She couldn't do it. But my personal thoughts of that whole entire event was that...
What are you doing? Having a video? I like
having
your
a video?
chat. I like your cat.
Say cheese.
Cheese.
Cheese. Cheese. Cheese. Are we twins?
Yeah.
You wish. And the other one.
Oh, Mom, I don't like it.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. Okay, bye, girls. Go back to Auntie. What was I saying? I think I was saying that I genuinely feel like nobody knows what actually went down. I feel like emotions were running high, but I also feel like Megan bringing light to the situation from the very beginning has hurt her more than it's helped her. And it's like they're continuing this pattern, which I don't understand why they're doing that. I don't feel like she should be silenced. I don't feel like she shouldn't be able to talk about the situation, because I see a lot of chatter online too about like, oh, why is she constantly allowed to bring it up but he can't say anything? In my personal opinion, I don't feel like either party should be talking about the situation because it's an open case. I feel like nobody should be saying anything about it until after trial. But at the end of the day, she is a victim in the situation. She was hurt, and it's okay for her to express her truth. I feel like when she made the first post where she said she just wants to clarify some things, she was shot and, you know, it was done to intentionally harm her. That post, I believe, that's where it should have just ended and let the rest kind of just do its thing. But people pressured her, like the public pressured the information out of her because they weren't talking. But it's like, at that point, her PR people should have stepped in and said, "Listen, Megan, don't say anything else about it. Just let it play out how it's going to play out." This entire time, from 2020 to 2022, her PR team has failed her. And her not keeping her mouth shut has failed her as well, because everything that she says is being used against her. Because there's people like me that can share their opinion about it, but really I'm unbiased because it doesn't add or take away anything from my life. I am not here to say whether he did it or didn't do it, and I'm not here to say whether she's a liar or not. That's not my take on it. But the other people that have opinions on the situation are quick to call her a liar and are quick to say he's innocent, or they're quick to say he's guilty and quick to say that Kelsey did it. Like, everybody is placing blame, and I personally just feel like everybody should just wait till it plays out and see what happens. But at the end of the day, we were not there, and we can't go back in time. There's no extra video footage that's gonna come out, well, unless there is, but like there's no extra video footage that's gonna come out. Kylie Jenner has been mum's the word. She really, the police should be interviewing Kylie Jenner to say, was there an altercation before they even left your house? You know what I mean? But they're not trying to involve her, and Kylie has been smart about it. She's never said a word about it, because at the end of the day, they left her house and went to go carry out hood rat shit with their friends. Like, that's basically how Kylie has been. She don't have nothing to do with that. They left her house, and as far as after they left her house, they were no longer her business because they were no longer her company. So it didn't happen on her driveway. You know what I mean? I think at the time, they were 5 minutes from their Airbnb or their house, whatever. The whole situation is really messed up, and I'm ready for it to be over. Like, I just want to see, I just want to see how this is all gonna play out. Obviously, Tory has maintained his innocence this whole time. And I don't know. I can't even say if I feel like, if I think he's gonna get off, if I don't really have those opinions. All I know is I am confused about what actually happened, and nobody's telling the truth, and so I can't form an opinion about, who did what and who said what. I don't doubt for a second that Megan was shot at. What I am concerned with is who shot her. Was it Kelsey or was it Tory? And in the interview with Gayle, they also brought up text messages, but they didn't show the real ones. They showed reenactment text messages, which I found to be interesting, because Megan had already posted text messages from Tory back in 2020. But the text messages were apparently from Kelsey to Megan's security, which I thought was strange, because it could easily be that Kelsey shot Megan and texted security and said Tory did it because they want to frame him. But that's just a possibility. I can't say that that's what happened. At the end of the day, it could have been Tory that shot her or Kelsey that shot her. Initially, when this all began, she had stated that she was walking away when she got shot. And that's why everybody was like, well, if you're walking away, how do you even know who shot you? But now, today, in that interview, she stated that he said dance bitch before he shot her. But she never stated that before. So things are being added to the story, or new information is coming up, and so people again are just confused. And I think that's really why there's so many opposing opinions about the situation. I have therapy in about 10 minutes, so I am going to go to my therapy meeting. But to sum up all my thoughts, it's basically that Megan needs a new PR team. I don't know about her lawyer. I think that there's people on her team that need to be removed immediately, expeditiously, and they just need to get gone. Because if that was my damn client, no, she does need a new lawyer. Because if I was her lawyer, I would have never had her sit in that interview chair. And I would have prepared her to answer those questions, or how to slide the question to the side. Like, I did it within the first 5 minutes of this video, where I said, that's irrelevant. If I was knocking boots with him, does that give him a right to shoot me in the foot? If I wasn't knocking boots with him, does that give him a right to shoot me in the foot? If he was having sex with me and my friend, does that give him a right to shoot me in the foot? They didn't prepare her, and that's really all this boils down to. She wasn't prepared to answer the questions, and this interview did nothing for her. It did not sway the public opinion. People are further calling her a liar, which is really embarrassing, because at the end of the day, whether you believe her or not, that's completely your business. But may your tongue fall out your mouth if she has been telling the truth this whole time. As for Tory, if he is found innocent because of whatever they do to prove their case in court, then all the people that were calling him guilty, well, may their tongues drop out of their mouths. But at the end of the day, he could be guilty and get off. Sometimes that's what happens in court. Or he could be innocent and go to jail. It's a 50-50 thing. But I'm sure that there's enough evidence that's going to come out in court and, you know, be able to finally put this thing to rest, girl. We want to bury it and never talk about it ever again. Let me know what you guys are thinking and feeling about the situation. I love you all so much, and I will definitely see you in the next one.